Very good morning, children. I'm back again with recorded classes, and this is Ma'am Anna, your English teacher. Hope you all are doing good. And as you all know, that you have to submit your classworks and homeworks to school for correction. Please see that you underline everything neatly and see that you have written neatly and also wrapped your book and written your names on it. Alright? So let's get started for today's session then. Here's the content of today's session. Firstly, we will do a recap of the previous class. Then we will continue the lesson, a tribute to Netaji. We will look into some vocabulary. Then of course comes your question time, which is your questionnaire. We will summarize all what we have learned today, and then of course your assignment, which is your classwork and homework, what has to be done. Let's quickly do a recap of what we learned in the previous lesson, children. We learned that the place of Subhash Chandra Bose was unique, and he was a leader who thought of fighting the brute force of the British, and he raised a modern army of about 75,000 men and women and inspired them to fight back. He belonged to an educated and prosperous family. He was educated in Cambridge, and he always followed the teaching of Swami Vivekananda and Guru Aurobindo Ghosh when it came to spiritual, and when it came to his politics, he followed Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das. And Subhash Chandra Bose had always regards for his Muslim countrymen, and the quarters in which he lived, right, was a Muslim one, and his neighbors were all mostly Muslims, and he couldn't remember ever to have looked upon Muslims as different from ourselves, and the only way they were separate was only when the Muslims used to go to the mosque to pray. And Subhash was always brought up in touch with English people, English education and English culture, but he came back to our culture, both classic and modern, and we did see that he had a rebellious and independent spirit that was always there from his early age, and he wouldn't tolerate anyone insulting anyone. And he was also departed from the college, but he joined the Scottish Church College in Calcutta, where he secured a first class in his BA examination, after which he joined the Indian Civil Services, and he came out successfully and stood forth in the order of merit. He wanted his future to be good, so he had a word with Mahatma Gandhiji and C.R. Das, who took Das as his mentor and settled down as a principal of college at Calcutta. And we also did learn that he joined the non-cooperation movement with Gandhiji, and later he was arrested for starting up the party and then later released. We learned till here, so we'll continue with the lesson, children. Let's turn to page 85. The eighth one. Soon the activities of the Swaraj party were found. Now turn to page 86. Unbearable by the British, on account of which Bose was in and out of jail repeatedly and fell ill many times. Bose was a great thinker as well as a man of vision and action. Subhash made such an impact on the Congress that he was elected twice as the president of National Congress in 1938 and 1939 for the two sessions held at Haripura, Gujarat and Tripura. In his presidential address, he talked not only of freedom but also reconstruction, that need for planning by setting up a planning commission, and of the gradual socialization of the entire agriculture and industrial system. He urged strongly that it was the right time to give an ultimatum to the British government for complete Swaraj. Britain was engaged in the World War, and so Gandhiji and Nehru were the opinion that the Congress should not take advantage of Britain's difficulties. But Bose had strong views and advocated total freedom. He travelled throughout the country to organize public opinion against the war effort. So he was arrested on July 2nd, 1940 at Madras. On November 26, 1940, Bose went on hunger strike to protest against the ill treatment of prisoners. As his condition suddenly worsened, he was released but was kept under police surveillance. Bose escaped from the British and reached Kabul, and from there he went to Berlin via Moscow. The whole country was thrilled when his voice was heard over the Berlin radio. When Japan entered the World War, Subhash left for Japan. He went to Singapore and took over the leadership of the Indian independence movement. Subhash went to Southeast Asia and organized the Indian National Army, which is INA, to fight against the British. The Indian soldiers and civilians at once declared their allegiance to him and began to call him Netaji. He gave them the inspiring call of Jai Hind and Dilli Chalo. While turn to page 87, children. While launching the war, Netaji went on air on July 6, 1944 and sought Gandhiji's blessing in the following words: Father of our nation, in this holy war of India's liberation, we ask for your blessing and good wishes. The INA fought so well that it soon liberated about 3,200 square kilometers and Indian territory from the well entrenched British army. But it was soon beset by various difficulties such as lack of communication and food, rigorous of the monsoon, and breakdown in supplies. On the other hand, the Japanese force were withdrawn as the war went badly for them, but the INA refused to retreat, with the result that thousands of soldiers were captured by the British forces. They were disarmed and court-martialed. Jawaharlal Nehru himself organized and conducted their defense. Ultimately, the government released them. Netaji boarded a Japanese aircraft for Tokyo on August 18, 1945. The plane landed in Formosa at noon, and according to the Japanese sources, it caught fire while taking off. Netaji was badly burnt but managed to come out of the plane. He was rushed to a hospital where he died the same night. It is amazing how much Subhash Chandra Bose was able to achieve and accomplish in his life of 48 years. He was a brilliant student and could have easily attained a high position of power as an ICS officer, but he preferred a life of trial and tribulations as a fighter for his country's freedom. His proud and independent spirit mocked at ill health and ill fortune. He was a doer as well as a thinker and a fighter who never submitted to defeat. In life, he was a natural leader of men who inspired immense devotion and loyalty. In death, he became a legend. People refuse to believe that Netaji is dead. Perhaps they are right, for martyrs never die. Children, I have read the lesson for you all. Now you will have to underline all the words, that is, all the new words that you find, and write it down in your rough book and send it to me. This is homework number 1 for you all. Now, let me explain the lesson for you all in short. Now, as you all know, that Netaji was a very good thinker as well as a man of vision and action. He wanted to improve the agricultural and the industrial state of India, and he came into so many ups and downs. Every time he would fight against the British, he was put into jail and later he would be released. He was sick, but still he never bothered. His only two inspiring words were Jai Hind and Delhi Chalo. After which he did so many things. He brought in so many new culture. He wanted to see that our India is also developed like one of the British countries. And he also fought for the INA, and there were many people who were put under trial but later released. And even when the World War was started, he was put into prison. But later, what he did, he escaped from there and went off to Japan. Later, he organized an army. He mainly fought for the Japanese, but they reverted back. And lot of INA people or INA soldiers were put under trial, but with the help of Jawaharlal Nehru, they were all released back. And on August 18th, 1945, he boarded a Japanese aircraft for Tokyo, but unfortunately, the plane caught fire while it was taking off, and somehow Subhash Chandra Bose came out of the plane, alright, but unfortunately, he died the same day. But it is amazing to see how much he has done for the country in his whole life of 48 years. If he had minded children, he would have become a very great person and he would have earned a big position. No, he didn't do that. His main aim was to fight and give us freedom from the British. Most of the people didn't believe that he was dead because he was really a man of loyalty. He inspired so many people and he became a legend today. And we say that he was a legend and martyrs never die. That's why even till today, when they say Subhash Chandra Bose, we all remember that he was a big freedom fighter. Correct? Hope you all understood this lesson, children. It's all about Subhash Chandra Bose and how he fought for India's freedom from the British. Let's look at some antonyms now, which is opposites. Action, idleness, organize, destroy, escaped, breaking away, liberated, bond, burnt, preserved, mocked, honored, refuse, accept. Now comes the most important part of the session, which I like, is question time. Are you all ready? Yes? Let's see how much you all have learned, or let's see how much you all have understood today's lesson. Now, I want all those who are watching this particular video to try and put in your effort to at least answer. Never mind, children, even if it's wrong. I will still correct you all. But please put an attempt to answer. The first question. What are the two things that Subhash Chandra Bose wanted to improve in India? What are the two things that Subhash Chandra Bose wanted to improve in India? What did people call Subhash Chandra Bose? What did people call Subhash Chandra Bose? The third one. When did he board a Japanese aircraft for Tokyo? When did he board a Japanese aircraft for Tokyo? What happened to that particular flight? What happened to that particular flight? And How many years did Subhash Chandra Bose live? How many years did Subhash Chandra Bose live? After his death, what did he become? After his death, what did he become? Let's see who will be the first person or the first student to type in the answers and send it to me, and you will get a round of applause in the group. All the best, children. Let's quickly do a recap of what we learned today. We completed the lesson A Tribute to Netaji, and we also did read the lesson which is on page 86 and 87. I did explain the lesson to you all, and we also saw few antonyms, correct? Now we have completed the lesson, and I've also taught you all few word meanings, framing words and opposites. Now let's see what your homework and classwork is. The last part of this session, which is the assignment. Children, for your homework, in your homework book, you will write a short paragraph with the title, The Most Unforgettable Person I Have Met. It can be anyone. It can be either your family member, it can be your teachers at school, or it can be your friend. Anyone. The most unforgettable person I have met. So you will write a short para about a page about this person whom you have met and why you are not able to forget that person. What inspired you? So you will write that in your homework book. And for your classwork, I will send notes via WhatsApp. You will have to copy it neatly in your classwork book, children. So once again, I'm repeating, please see that you update your classwork book neatly, and all those who have written in red pen, black pen, please see that you write it in blue pen. And once again reminding you all, please send your books on time for correction. After that particular date, I will not be available to correct your books and send. So please see that you give your books on time for me to correct your books and send it to you. Until we meet in next class, this is Ma'am Anna signing off. Take care, children. Be safe. Bye-bye.